Good morning. It's Wednesday morning, and let's take a look at what happened last night, and then we're going to talk to Michael Shewmaker. Also, he's the assistant coach at Bethel University, Bethel, Indiana style. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. As I said, we're going to have Michael Shewmaker, assistant coach at Bethel. This is his first year there. I wanted fans to get a chance to know him. Several top 25 teams. Freed Hardeman was at Fisk. LSU Alexandria hosted a very good Texas college team. The Masters played Bethesda, and Georgetown hosted Shawnee State. So let's start out with the Masters. They're number 10 in the country. They just throttled Bethesda. 117-57. Caleb Lowry, 16 points, 13 rebounds. Kendall Moore, 14 points, 5 rebounds. The Masters had a ton of guys with 8, 9, 7 points. Obviously, they played a lot of people with that kind of a win. The Masters, they're going to travel to La Sierra on Monday, and right now they are 7-1. Number 5 is Georgetown. They won again tonight. They beat Shawnee State. Of course, this was down in Kentucky. They beat them pretty good, though, 91-63. Andres Burney, 20 points, 8 rebounds. And Dre Boyd, he's been showing up more and more in their stat line now. He's got a double-double last night, 13 points, 12 rebounds. So they're going to host Florida College. Florida College lost again tonight to Kaiser. So they're struggling. Now they're going to head up to Georgetown, Kentucky. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so Georgetown now is 7-0. Number 7, Freed Hardeman. They played at Fisk, and I didn't get these scores till real late last night. Fisk doesn't publish any scores, it's so frustrating, but I'll leave it at that. So Freed Hardeman beat him 89-62. Peyton the Law, he had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks. Makai Vessel, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. The Lions now, they're 7-1. They're going to travel to Southeastern on Monday. That game should be interesting. You know, Southeastern knocked off Florida Memorial the other day, and regardless of records, Southeastern's always dangerous. So we'll have to see how that game works out. Number 6, I know this is jumping around because the slides are set in order of the conferences. But anyway, number 6, LSU Alexandria. They defeated Texas College. As I said, Texas College they're extremely good. LSU Alexandria beat them 88-76. LSUA is totally on a roll. They are a team that if somebody doesn't knock them off the tracks, I mean, they're red hot and rolling. Personally, I'm just wondering, sometimes it can go the whole season. Sometimes, it ends up. But right now, they're hot. 88-76, they get the win. Cashy Nat, 14.7 rebounds. Ed McQuillan's really been playing well. Everybody knows about Cashy Nat, but E.J. McQuillan, has been playing real well for them too. 10 points, 2 rebounds. So the Generals are 6-0, and they're going to travel to New Orleans and take on Xavier on Tuesday. That game should be hot. Forget the records. That's a cross-state rivalry there. Okay, this is Michael Shewmaker. He's assistant men's basketball coach at Bethel Pilots. Spoke to him and wanted to get a little bit more about his background. So let's just go ahead and I'll shut up and let's take a listen. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Michael Shewmaker. He's the assistant coach over Bethel Pilots. Welcome, Michael. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, do you go by Mike or Michael?
Either one. I
Oh, I
introduced
hate it when
myself as
people tell me
Michael.
that. I'll call you George then.
My mom always said, I didn't name you Mike, I named you Michael. So I
There
try
you
to
go.
introduce myself as Michael, but yeah.
Okay. So you first off, the reason I got a hold of you is a common acquaintance we have, Ian Cunningham, who runs the showcase out in Ohio, right? And
Yes,
he
sir.
said, "Hey, you need to talk to this guy. Talk about the work he does there because it's really a labor of love that Ian Cunningham does with his showcase."
Yeah, it's fascinating. So, he calls it his ministry, and I think there's no better way to describe it. He's providing a free showcase, and when I say free, I feel like people probably don't believe me, but I mean it's free to college coaches. He doesn't charge you for a packet. He doesn't charge the players anything to participate, and they're getting great publicity and getting all this gear and stuff, and getting advice. And he's had former NBA players go in and speak to them, and current college coaches. So it's really it's an amazing thing to see him trying to change the market of showcases and summer camps and making it less of a business model where people are trying to make a little money off it. And
Yeah.
he's doing it just out of the goodness of his heart. I mean, I'm not going to put his information out there, but he dips into his pockets every year. He actually comes out at a loss every year,
Yeah.
but he'll never stop doing it. It's quite amazing what a genuine person he is.
I think it's a great opportunity. Of course, they have to limit the invites. I'm not sure if they still do that, but they had to. But it's a great opportunity for, especially like young men, because of family circumstances, couldn't play travel ball, either finances or, the family needed them around. And they just don't get seen, if you just play
Well,
high school basketball.
and that's the truth. And I think a lot of that, started with his background. He's from Cleveland. He lives in Cleveland. He works at one of the toughest juvenile detention centers, and he's just got a heart of gold. So he sees all these young men with issues, and not a lot of place to put their focus, or like you said, maybe not the resources to participate at the level of some of these other kids. So just giving them a platform to be seen and something to strive for. So it's really amazing.
So, Michael, how did you become aware of what Ian was doing? As a coach, were you going to the showcases?
Yeah, so when I was an assistant, I started seeing it kind of pop up on my Twitter feed, and I was interested. But I was working for a small Division III school up in Vermont at the time, and we didn't have the budget to necessarily get out to Cleveland unless we knew for sure that
Mm-hmm.
it was worth it. And so when I actually got hired as a head coach, I got hired in July, and I had 2 guys on the roster. So I was like, you know what? Let me call Ian. And I just kind of on a whim reached out to him and just like, hey, like I know you had your showcase, and I wasn't there because I just got the job, but if there's any kids floating around or any leads or anything you think I should call, let me know. And within 10 minutes he took that message and called me, and him and
Wow.
I were on the phone for about an hour. And I remember getting off the phone and talking to my wife and being like, just floored, like this gentleman doesn't know me, and he's trying to help me, and he's trying to help these kids, and there's just he's got no ulterior motive. And we kind of connected, I think, from the first phone call, and just you
Mm-hmm.
could feel his genuineness. And yeah, so since then I've gone to the showcase every year, except for the one year I was coaching a professional basketball team. We had a playoff run, so I wasn't able to get out there, but I still recruited it. I still was signing kids from the showcase just off of film and his word, and getting to know these kids. So it's been a great showcase. I try to scream it from the rooftops as best I can, especially for my my coworkers back in the Northeast, that hey, if you can get out to Cleveland, it's worth it. There's a lot of good ball players out there.
So you're in Mishawaka now, but you're a Northeast guy. You were born somewhere in New York, weren't you? Didn't you go to high school in New York?
Yeah, so I grew up Westchester County, like northern Westchester, southern Putnam County. No one really knows it's a small town called Cold Spring, but our claim to fame is we're right across the river, the Hudson River from West Point Academy. So it kind of
Oh,
puts it on the
wow,
map
that's
for
pretty
everyone.
cool.
Yeah.
So, did you just think everybody lived across from the river from something like that? I grew up in a town with an air base. I thought everybody grew up watching the Jets.
Yeah, well, oh, trust me, we watched the Jets too, unfortunately. But yeah, it was unique growing up there. It was pretty cool. We were able to use a lot of Army's West Point's facilities, before 9/11, and they really
Yeah.
cracked down on the security. It was an open book. I used to go there every summer for summer camps, and so it was kind of my first taste into the college sports world was through West Point.
Oh, was it? Okay, that's kind of neat. So you most of your coaching career has been up there, the Northeast, Vermont. I can't remember. Anyway, most all in the Northeast, and now you pop up in Indiana. How in the world did you get from way up there to Mishawaka, Indiana?
Yeah, so it just took a chance. I was an assistant at two different schools, like you were talking about, in Vermont, over the course of 8 years, 4 years at each stop, Division III schools, first at Castleton State College, now Castleton University. And then I went from there up to Norwich University, worked 4 years there. And then I took a head coaching job at Bryan and Stratton College in Albany, New York, which kind of worked out because it was close to where my wife had grown up, about 20 minutes from her hometown. So that was nice. Did that for 3 years and, had some moderate success, but just felt like, I was striving to try to get to a bigger stage, so to speak. And, the opportunity at Bethel opened up and, I had known someone that knew Coach Draven, and I was able to get Coach Draven's number and just kind of give him a cold call and kind of try to sell myself a little bit to him.
When you first took that head coaching job, you had been an assistant. You had quite deep experience as an assistant, but what were one or two things that really surprised you when you took that first chair?
Everyone loves the assistant coach. It's much easier to be the assistant. And, my first person I ever worked for, Paul Copo, always told me that, and I kind of looked at him, not really understanding what he was saying, but he's like, you move over 12 inches and everyone's opinion of you changes. And that's really the truth, and good and bad, but you learn to adjust to it. But I think that was the first real eye-opening thing is just being able to manage all the relationships and try to keep everything moving forward positively.
What was one or two things that were really cool that you didn't know about as the head coach?
Just seeing students succeed. So I think that was something as an assistant coach, you're so used to just getting the kids there and then not turning them over to the head coach, but it's like your big responsibility as an assistant for the most part when I was, coming up was get the recruits, just, be a good recruiter, help with scouting reports, do all that. But, as a head coach to recruit a kid and watch him come in and, my first recruiting class right now is back at Bryan and Stratton as seniors. And, we had some pretty good success our 3 years there. And it was just really cool watching them kind of grow up more or less, so to speak, on the court and in the classroom too. I watched guys take huge strides. You see them come back over the summer and they've changed. They look like grown men now and not boys. So it was really cool to watch. And I think that was something I didn't realize I was going to enjoy as much as I did.
I think that's one of the most amazing things about following college basketball, Michael. I follow Oregon Tech real close, and you meet these guys, they're freshmen, and all of a sudden they come back, usually after like their sophomore year, they'll come back and you go, holy cow, there's a man. It's quite, because that period of your life, from 18 to 22, you go through quite a metamorphosis. So it's fun. That's interesting to watch. And it's kind of cool, really. So you get out to Mishawaka. You're right up there by Notre Dame. What's your reception been like at the university? It's a neat place, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. I instantly felt at home within the first week of being here, and just having to get all your your HR paperwork and going to meet so and so in this department and that department, and just how welcoming and friendly and positive everyone was here. It's very contagious, and it just makes you feel really at home, and makes the adjustment a lot quicker. That I don't have to worry about adjusting at work, and I can kind of focus on the adjustment at home with the wife and kids, and moving 10 hours. So that was really wonderful to have a job that was able to provide that for me, where it was just one less thing to worry about. I felt like I'd been working here forever, and I had been here for a couple of weeks.
When you took that job, what did you know anything about the Crossroads League? Had you heard anything?
Yeah, so, when I knew the job opened up and before I called coach, I did my research. I had heard of it. I didn't know all the details of it, obviously being a Northeast guy, primarily working in Division III and then, small college basketball in the USCAA. I was floored. And, you get here and you start working out the guys and seeing the film and how good it is and what high level basketball it was. It was really exciting, but it's quite impressive here. Yeah.
Yeah, and the coaching fraternity is really something special in that conference or league. It's a league. Have you met any other coaches around the league yet?
So I was able to speak to Grace. We went down there and played in their classics. So I was able to speak to their assistant down there, Homesteads, and he was great, very welcoming. A lot of questions for me. I think it's kind of everyone's kind of surprised. New York guy out here in Indiana, but just looking around the league and seeing what these coaches have done. I can't wait to get into league play. I know my job's about to get significantly harder trying to figure these guys out, but that's the exciting part of the job is, trying to get into these chess matches with these really amazing coaches.
What was your first thought when you walked into that facility at Grace?
It was impressive.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was better. I remember texting my father saying, "Hey, this is nicer than the majority of the Division I facilities I entered as a graduate assistant coaching in the NEC." It was just,
wow. This
was really, the hype in Indiana. It checks out. It lives up to it. They take it pretty serious out here.
So you guys meaning the Pilots. If I'm not wrong, you're 6-0, right? 6-0.
Yes.
And you kick off league play this Wednesday. So same kind of question. So you've been assistant now for 6 games, and you're playing these games now. You're watching the competition. What is your take of the competition in the NAIA from other places where you've been?
Well, I think from where I've been personally at the D3 level, on a skill standpoint, on just a size standpoint, there's really no comparison. The NAIA to me, being a Northeast guy, I compared it to, especially the Crossroads League in particular. I compared it to almost like the NE10, the Northeast 10, a really sound and one of the better Division II conferences in the country, primarily based in the Northeast, but just that level of basketball, that level of skill and knowledge and size on the court, so I compared it to my friends back home who really aren't familiar with NAIA, that it's high level basketball. It's Division II, it's low level D1. I mean, you see the tracker every year. There's NAIA teams that beat Division I teams. So the lines really have been blurred, and I think they're getting blurrier every year as the talent pool grows, and the word's getting out there how good basketball is sometimes outside of the NCAA. So it's exciting. It's a really exciting league to be a part of, but it's going to be challenging. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the NAIA right now, basketball competition wise, is in a really strong spot. I can't really put my finger on what exactly changed, but the level of talent has exploded, and now teams are with mid-level D1s. They're usually very competitive games. It wasn't that case 20 years ago, so I think it's in a good spot.
I agree. And I think, to speak to that, I think a lot of it is just, over the years is the proving ground. I mean, Division I teams are I don't want to say cherry picking, but they're recruiting out of the NAIA, with the transfer portal and
right.
Guys hopping around year to year. Division I teams have had success, getting guys transferring from the NAIA to the Division I level and being successful at that. And I think that opens eyes all over the place. That makes it a little easier for the kid to decide, hey, NAIA is pretty darn good ball because look who was here and look where they're at, and having pro players signed and D1 players signed. So I think the players and the coaches have really put it on the map just over time. So it's cool.
Yeah, and you have guys like Kyle Mangus and Riley Minix playing G League ball. That helps too. So yeah. So let's talk some Pilot basketball. So you guys are going to kick off the league this Wednesday. They're at home. You got Goshen coming. As a coach, how do you get the guys to not look ahead to Saturday? Because you got to go up to Huntington. Everybody knows it's a war. So how do you focus on Wednesday?
Kudos to Coach Draben, because obviously me only being here a couple of months, I'm inheriting a lot of this culture that I've walked into, and the maturity level and the focus on this team is outstanding. So we really don't even have to talk about it. I think they understand, you can't get to Saturday before you play Wednesday. Wednesday's just as important as Saturday on paper. So, I know the boys are focused, and I think they're just ready to get league play started. And, first game is Wednesday. So I think they're, we're not trying to overthink it or even mention it. We're just focused on Goshen yesterday and today, and, we'll square up with them tomorrow.
You guys have there's a few guys that have been with the team a few years that are really having great seasons. I always say his name wrong. Peculus.
Al Petrulus. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. But the guy's a phenomenal rebounder, but he's averaging almost 18 points a game this year. And then McBride out of I think it's Norwell. I started calling him Fill It Up McBride. He's shooting really, really well so far this year. Talk about those two a little bit.
those two have been great. We've leaned on them early. Luke is hands down just an unbelievable shooter, and a lot of people kind of just see him as only a shooter, and they focus on running him off the 3-point line. But he does a great job. He's crafty getting into the lane. He's strong for his size. He absorbs contact. He can finish well around the rim. He's really disciplined. Obviously, being a coach's son, so he knows to play off of 2 feet in the lane and uses pivots, and just a really, really efficient scorer. And then Al is just, I wish we could clone Al. Everyone needs an Al on their team. He's long, 6'6", 6'7". He's very physical, wiry, strong. He's kind of a sneaky athlete. I don't think people realize how high he could jump.
Yeah.
And he's just a ball hawk in every sense. When that ball goes up, he's going for it, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. And, a lot of the times he does such a good job keeping the ball alive on the offensive glass. He might not secure it, but he slaps it off the glass or tips it to someone. So he's been really great at that. It's huge for us. And then his scoring has just been so efficient this year. He's really good getting downhill. He's another one that's, great finishing package with both hands. He's got a good little mid-range shot, and, we can post guys up. He's kind of a tough matchup because if you're worried about him in the post and you put someone bigger on him, he can take them away from the basket and drive past them. And then if you try to put a guard on him, he's going to post them up. So he's been a difficult matchup for guys. I think it's going to change a little bit as we get into league play here, and the defenses get a little better and the bodies get a little bigger. But I'd like to see him start stretching the floor more with his jumper too. I don't even know. He might have maybe 1 attempted 3 on the year. The kid can really shoot, but he hasn't felt the need to yet because he's being so effective getting to the hoop. I think he's haven't looked at the field goal percentage, but I would have to think he's in the 60s, if not 70s at this point.
Big Preston Phillips, you're going to have him work on his shooting. He's only shooting 64% so far.
A little down from last year.
Yeah, but boy, he really gives you a presence in the middle, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's and he's such a willing and capable passer too that he really becomes an issue. You gotta have that decision as a coach. Do you double him or do you try to just play him straight up? Because when you send multiple people to him, he'll lead the game in assists. He's a great passer. He sees the floor well. He's strong. Can whip the pass across the court. So he's been really big for us. He's almost like a point forward. The way we kind of run offense through him sometimes, and we'll let him bring the ball up or push it on a break or just throw it to him in the pinch post and let him kind of make a read. But quite the luxury to have.
There's one more particular player I want to ask about. I've watched Jameer Jefferson quite a bit last season, and to me on the court he looked, he's just a lockdown defender. That's kind of his calling card. But offensively, number one, he's getting to the line a lot. He's shooting a high percentage. He's really added a dimension to his game.
Yeah, just development. Being his second year now with coach, he's understanding the flow of the offense and how to get himself shots and good looks without having to go off the dribble all the time. He's moving well without the ball. He's not settling for jumpers. And then when he gets into the lane, you spoke to it. What makes him such a great lockdown defender is also what makes him such a good finisher around the rim. He can jump out of the gym. He's really strong up top, absorbs contact, and can move in the air. So he's done a great job getting downhill, getting to the free throw line and converting. And you spoke about it. His value is now on both sides of the ball, but it definitely started on the defensive side. He's got a presence that can change games and change momentum quickly.
Yeah, if people haven't watched him play, you need to get some tape of him or sit down with your kids and watch him play because, man, he defends. He's a good guy too. So
he does it. He does it with excitement too.
Exactly. He's waiting for him. He's waiting for him, man. Yeah, I agree. He does it with a lot of enthusiasm. So you're getting ready to go into league play. You got to be as excited. It's got to be so exciting to get ready to go into that Crossroads League, and with your 6-0 right now. Just talk about the mood and the psyche of the team right now.
I think we're in a good spot. We've had a good start to the season, but we know honestly it comes down to conference play. People don't really care too much, about what you do outside of the Crossroads. It's what you can do in the league. So, 6-0 is great right now, but if we don't win conference games, 6-0 meant nothing. So, I think the team's pretty focused and ready for it. But the excitement on my end, at least, I know is through the roof. It's something I've been waiting for since I took the job in July to just, kind of get into this league. I've been hearing so much about it, and I just want to get it rolling.
Well, Michael, I want to be not the first, obviously, but I want to welcome you to the NAI. You're a great addition to the NAI and definitely to the Bethel staff. I look forward to meeting you sometime in the near future as well. And I appreciate you taking a few minutes to sit down and talk with us today.
Absolutely, Bill. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Michael Shewmaker. He's the assistant coach over at Bethel Pilots. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot to Michael Shewmaker and to Steve Draben and the Bethel Pilots for making him available. Obviously, you can hear the excitement in his voice. We're all excited for league play to start. Sorry, I lost my concentration there. Anyway, that was a good. I really enjoyed talking to him. Hey, this weekend we're going to go down and we're going to cover at least the Saturday portion of the Dave Lip Classic down at Bushnell. It's going to be exciting because you got Corbin and Bushnell, and then from California you got Simpson and Hope International. So it'll be two great games on Saturday, and we'll cover them. We'll bring you interviews. We'll bring you some videos, some pre and post game video as well. Eddie, I haven't told you I'm coming yet, but I'll be there. I'm really looking forward to that. I love, that's what I do this for, is to get to the gym, talk to coaches, talk to players, be around the fans. That's because I'm a fan. I mean, that's what I'm a basketball fan, and I got to go to the gym every weekend. So that's what we'll be doing. Look for that. And you get out to a basketball game this weekend too, because I think you heard somewhere NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.